Hello everyone, welcome to Deepti's biology class. Let's start with central nervous system. So central nervous system consists of two parts. They are the brain and spinal cord. As we have already discussed, there is two types of nervous system, which are the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system consists of the brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system consists of all the nerves which arises from these two. Whatever nerves which arises from these two, that comprises the peripheral nervous system. So in this lesson we'll see the basics about brain. So this is the classification of brain. Brain has three regions, which are the forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. You cannot see any of these three parts. Actually, these are the regions. These regions includes, so forebrain part of the brain consists of cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. Hindbrain or hindbrain part of the brain consists of cerebellum, pons varoli and medulla oblongata. This is not cerebrum, this is actually cerebellum. So cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata form the hindbrain. So what is the function of this midbrain? To connect forebrain with hindbrain. So what are the three regions of brain? Three regions of brain consist of forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. See, region means suppose something is like this, we say that this is the upper region, middle region and the lower region, right? But this will be made up of some other parts. These are those parts. That way you have to understand. Brain has forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. These are the three regions. Forebrain consists of cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. Hindbrain consists of cerebellum. This is not cerebrum, this is actually cerebellum, pons varoli and medulla oblongata. And there is a region which comes between these two. The function is to connect these two. This is the diagram of brain and the nervous system. So we can understand from this diagram what this forebrain consists of: cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. So forebrain consists of this cerebrum. This entire structure is the cerebrum. The largest part of the brain is made up of cerebrum. Then the thalamus and hypothalamus. These are the three parts which comes under the forebrain. So forebrain consists of cerebrum, forebrain consists of thalamus as well as the hypothalamus, right? This region is termed as the midbrain. Now what about hindbrain? Hindbrain consists of the cerebellum, second largest portion of the brain, the cerebellum, medulla oblongata and the pons varoli, right? Pons varoli. So this is the part of hindbrain. These three structures are the part of hindbrain. Now, so central nervous system entirely consists of this much is the brain, and from brain what happens, that is what we call spinal cord. So here we will not study spinal cord, we will be studying only the brain. So brain has three regions. This entire brain is divided into three regions. How? See, like this upper region will be there will be a middle region and there will be a lower region. What do we call this upper, middle and lower region? Forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. So forebrain consists of cerebrum, this region the thalamus, and below the thalamus what is there, we call it as hypothalamus. So the largest part of the brain is cerebrum. In many cases what happens, even if you check the previous year question paper, the most importantly discussing topic is one is cerebrum, second one is cerebellum and the third one is medulla oblongata. Just for you to understand in a simple way, I will tell you what are the functions of these. Cerebrum, as it is the largest part, this is considered as the seat of intelligence. This part is related to your memory, your previous. See, when I am asking you some question, you think about the answer, right? In such situation and all, this part is working. Like, see, you see someone today, maybe years after, you will when you see the person again, you can recognize, right? So those things are actually stored in our cerebrum. So cerebrum is considered as the seat of intelligence. So the second most important portion, that is the cerebellum, which is the second largest portion, and this cerebellum function is to control voluntary activity. Voluntary activity, like, see, I am writing now, right? What to write, where to write. This, while writing, my hand along with my brain is controlled by this cerebellum. See, when you are walking, when you are sitting, whenever you are doing something voluntarily, right? In such situation, this cerebellum is actually working. So cerebrum helps you to think. Your memory is located there, your intelligence is located there, right? Your knowledge is stored there. All those things are there in the cerebrum. What about cerebellum? Cerebellum controls voluntary activity. Like, you are sitting somewhere and listening this lecture, right? If you want to stop it, if you want to walk to somewhere, right? If you want to call someone, all those things you are doing voluntarily, purposefully you are doing, right? You can control even that. Such activities are controlled by cerebellum. And the third important portion which we can see in the question paper, like, see, many of the time we get a question like, which portion of the brain is termed as seat of intelligence, which part of the brain is controlling voluntary activity. Same way we may get a question, what is the function of medulla oblongata? Medulla oblongata, the function is to control involuntary activity. The same time, when you watch this video, your heart is beating, your eyes are blinking, you are respiring, right? Circulation is happening. All those involuntary activities. What is involuntary? Involuntary means those activities which we cannot control. Such things are controlled by this medulla oblongata. So function of cerebrum, to store intelligence. It is the seat of intelligence. Knowledge is located there, memory is located there, right? Which is the largest portion of our brain. What about cerebellum? This structure which comes below the cerebrum, it comes this cerebellum. This cerebellum function is to control the voluntary activity. Sometime if the question is asked like, which part of the brain control posture and balance of the body. Posture and balance of the body means whether to stand properly, whether to sit somewhere. Those things are actually voluntary activity, right? To stand properly or sit properly, it is voluntary. That is controlled by cerebellum. So which part of our brain control involuntary activities? What are involuntary activities? Those activities which we cannot control. That is controlled by medulla oblongata. So these are just three things which normally we can see in any question paper I have discussed. That is cerebrum, cerebellum and medulla oblongata. So listen once again. Our brain consists of three regions. Which are these regions? These regions include forebrain, which consists of cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. Which are they? The cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. Right? Now the second thing was the midbrain. This midbrain, function of midbrain is to connect the forebrain with hindbrain, because up to here was the forebrain. So this entire region is the forebrain and this region is the hindbrain. Now what is the function of this midbrain? Midbrain function is to connect with this forebrain and hindbrain, right? Now, what are the things present in the hindbrain? These includes cerebrum, pons varoli and medulla oblongata. See, hindbrain consists of the pons, medulla and cerebellum. see, just maybe by mistake I said cerebrum. This is as I already told you, this is actually cerebellum, right? Sorry if I have pronounced cerebrum. This is cerebellum, right? So what this hindbrain consists of? Cerebellum, medulla oblongata and pons. Now one of the most important thing you have to remember here is a term, brain stem. What is this brain stem made up of? Medulla oblongata, pons varoli and midbrain together termed as brain stem. We will see the function and all. So what the brain stem is made up of? Brain stem is actually midbrain plus hindbrain, but we are not calculating or we are not counting this cerebellum there. So brainstem is made up of midbrain, pons and medulla. Now let's see the function of each and every part of this brain. We have already seen what is the function of cerebrum, cerebellum and medulla oblongata, right? So this is seat of intelligence. This controls voluntary activity. Medulla controls involuntary activity. Now central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. So this much is the brain, and what comes after this, that forms spinal cord, right? Now functions of different parts of brain are, the first one is cerebrum. So one by one when we cover we will see, and whatever is left which are not given I will explain, right? So the first one is cerebrum. Cerebrum is responsible for reasoning, logic, emotions, speech, memory, visual processing, recognition of auditory and taste stimuli. So we call it as, this is the seat of intelligence, right? So this is what the function of cerebrum. You must learn this diagram also, because sometimes it is asked to label. So the large is this entire pink colored portion, we call it as this cerebrum. Now the second thing which is given here is cerebellum. Cerebellum regulates and coordinates body movement, posture and balance. In other way we can say that these all are the voluntary activities. Now what about pons? Pons relay signal from hindbrain to forebrain, which means, see, whatever message is received by this hindbrain. Hindbrain includes cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata. Whatever message is received by this hindbrain, right? These all message is received by the pons. Pons in turn transmit this to the forebrain, right? So function of the pons is to act as, or to receive the relay signals from the hindbrain to the forebrain. From the hindbrain it is received and given to the forebrain, right? Medulla oblongata controls all involuntary movements like vomiting, sneezing, yawning, heartbeat, breathing, blood pressure. All these things are done by this medulla oblongata, right? Now medulla oblongata continues as spinal cord, which runs through the vertebral column and it controls reflex action. We will see what is reflex action. So what about medulla? Medulla controls involuntary activity and it continue as spinal cord, and this spinal cord is protected by a bone structure. We call it as vertebral column. Now this thalamus is also connected with the language system. We say that it is the language system, connected with the language system, or else we can say that this thalamus also receives the message, and this message, or in the form of signal, it is given to the cerebrum. Thalamus function is also to receive the signal and to transmit to the cerebrum, right? So we have talked about pons. Pons connect, or pons receive the message from hindbrain and it is given to the cerebrum. What about thalamus? It is related to the language system, as well as thalamus can even send the message which is received in the form of signal to the cerebrum. Now another important portion is the hypothalamus, which is located just below the thalamus. So this region is termed as hypothalamus. This hypothalamus is a connecting link between nervous system and endocrine system. What is endocrine system? Endocrine system is hormonal system, which means there is a coordination between hormone and nervous system. This connection, hormonal system, that is endocrine system, and the nervous system is connected by hypothalamus. Function of hypothalamus, this is a connecting link between nervous system and endocrine system. Now there is something which is given here is pituitary gland. This is not actually exactly the part of nervous system. Pituitary gland is labeled here, but it is a gland. This gland secretes hormone. So when you draw the diagram of brain, you no need to show this pituitary gland, because this pituitary gland is termed as master gland. Master gland. This is a part of hormonal system that we will study in hormone chapter, right? Endocrine chapter we will study. So the detailed structure of brain, this is actually not that detailed, just basics only. We have to study little more depth, especially this cerebrum, right? Now one more thing you have to understand, this is a side view. Now if I am making this brain this way, that means if you look this brain from this side, this brain cerebrum is divided into two halves. That means this brain is divided into two halves, that is right and left hemispheres. Right and left hemispheres. This is very important to understand. Not only the cerebrum, the cerebellum is also divided into two parts, which means if you look at, like, see, when you look at a mirror, or if you are looking at someone's face, that means front view, when you see, the cerebrum as well as cerebellum is divided into two hemispheres, right? There is two hemispheres. Now one term I am writing here, you can note down in your notebook. There is something we call it as corpus callosum. Please don't forget this name. What is corpus callosum? Corpus callosum is the connection between two hemispheres of the cerebrum. What does it mean? Our cerebrum, see, this is the side view, right? From any of your ear side, if you look at, you will get this diagram, right? But if you look from front side, this cerebrum is divided into, see, suppose if this is the cerebrum, right? This is the cerebrum. It is divided into two, right and left hemispheres. Now these hemispheres are connected by a structure we call it as corpus callosum. From the side view also you can see that corpus callosum, that is this structure. This structure is actually the corpus callosum, which connect right and left hemispheres. If you have not got this, just you can type this term in Google, so that you will be seeing these right and left hemispheres of the brain, and which is how it is connected. What I mean to say, this is not that just exactly the same continuous structure. Instead it has two parts, right and left parts. Now this much about the basics of this brain, which consists of forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain, which in turn divided into cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus, cerebellum, pons varole and medulla oblongata. At least in one line you must know what is the function of these all, because sometimes it is required in match the following or MCQs and all, you may get confused. In next lesson we will see the spinal cord and reflex action. Thank you for watching.